Marketing. I live and work here in Edgewater, and I'm really excited to be with you today. We're having some technical difficulties this morning. Go figure, kind of the story of our lives. So I don't have the gorgeous presentation that I had created for you, but I do want to talk through some email marketing techniques for small businesses. And I believe we'll be able to get you the presentation after sometime later today when we get out of our technical craziness. So what I'd like to cover today, this is email marketing. I call it spinning straw into gold. And I'll explain why I mean that in just a minute. But truly, I think it's kind of magical the way that email works. What we're going to cover today is why would you do email marketing, or why it's really important for you to, if you're not already, to ramp up your email marketing efforts. What are the types of email that every small business should be sending out, and some tips for great email. So we're going to go through that in a kind of quick down and dirty fashion. Then, as I said, you'll have the presentation later, so you'll have the details in front of you, and you can go back and review. So first of all, some of the main reasons that businesses, all businesses, but especially small businesses, like to use email or find value in email is it provides, first and foremost, it provides really good return on investment, or ROI. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute, but really, of all the different marketing channels, email marketing is one that consistently delivers high return for low investment. Email marketing is also a great way to build customer engagement, to get your customers excited about coming in shopping with you, or working with you, or staying with you, continually being engaged with you, which leads to potentially down the road increased sales. Email marketing is a good, easy, inexpensive way to build expertise and trust. So especially those of you that are in service businesses, or you're providing medical services or personal services, trust is really, really important. Maybe you don't need as much trust if you're selling, if you're the fruit stand on Broadway or on Clark, but you definitely need trust if you're a massage therapist, or if you're providing marketing services. You absolutely have to build trust. And email is one of the ways that you can do that very effectively. Email also allows you to stay top of mind. Once you have somebody's email address, you can pop into their inbox kind of at any time. We'll talk about exactly how often soon, but you can definitely sort of stay on top of your customers' minds. And you can learn so much more about your customers by how they respond to your emails. So as soon as you find out sort of what they're liking and clicking on and opening, that gives you a really good idea of what you should be doing next. So let's go back to the straw into gold thing. In my presentation, I've got a cute little spinning wheel with a $sign on it. The idea is that you can really spin straw, which is email addresses, which you're collecting probably kind of more or less for free, and use those names to sell to your customers. So yes, of course, it takes some effort to collect those emails. And if you were in John's presentation this morning, John from Blue Shoon shared a presentation earlier today about how to actually set up email on your site, and goes through like the MailChimp platform, which is a really popular platform for small businesses. He goes through that platform and shows you step by step how to set that up and put a little box on your site so that you can capture people's email addresses. So if you haven't seen John's presentation, I would definitely go back and see it if you don't have email already set up, because it's a great intro presentation, totally gives you the step-by-step. So we're going to take that to the next level and talk about, so now you've got this email address, now what? So the idea is that in email marketing, it's like 3 stages really. The first stage, which John started to set up for you, is you're gathering subscribers, right? You're trying to make a list. We call it your list. We call it your database, whatever we're going to call it. But an email marketing list is generally the term that's used. You have this list of people who have opted to give you their email address. They've either signed up on your site, or maybe they signed up in your store. Maybe you had like a pad of paper or form at your cash register, or in your waiting room, or in your office, and you said, hey, do you want to be on our mailing list? And maybe you said, we'll send you information and discounts and coupons or whatever. And people signed up on your physical list, and that's totally fine. as long as it's really, really clear on the top of that page or on the form that they're physically filling out, that they know that you're going to email it to them. Like they have to permission themselves in. They've got to opt in. You can't just take their name off of an order form, or, you know, they placed an order at your bakery, and so you've got their email address to communicate with them. You can't just put their name on your list unless they have opted to be there. Now, you could send them a note and say, would you like to be on our mailing list? And then you can put them on your email list. That would be fine. But just because you've gathered a business card from somebody at a networking event, or you've gotten some email address for some other reason, does not mean, it does not give you permission to mail to them all the time. So just be really aware of that. And if you have questions about that, ping me and we can talk. But so you've got all these subscribers, and now you're going to send regular emails to them to build trust and authority and keep them engaged. And ideally, over time, not tomorrow, not in an hour, probably not next week, but over time, some of those email subscribers are going to become customers. And not only are they going to become customers, some of them are going to become really loyal customers. And some of those customers might even go and refer other business to you. So having somebody engaged on your list is really, really the goal. So I like to think of the email world as email's email, right? We all have email. But I think that there are 3 types of marketing emails. And this is a little different than how others might teach it. But I think that the 3 types are welcome emails, nurture emails, and broadcast emails. And I've got some cutesy little icons for these in my presentation that you'll see later. But welcome emails are the kinds that like the ones that John talked about this morning. John talked about when you set up your mailing list and you pull in that email name, that once that name's on your list, there should be an automated welcome email that goes back to them. Like, thanks so much for signing up. I'm so happy that you're here. You can expect email from me weekly or twice a week or monthly or whatever. And I'm going to tell you about X, Y, and Z in my email. And that's the kind of thing that you would want to make sure that a subscriber has immediately. So welcome email could be just one email, or you could do a sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe emails to kind of set the stage for your subscriber to now know what to expect from you. And so if I sign up for your list today, I'm going to get the welcome email immediately. And then as time goes on, maybe a day later, I get another email, and another day, a couple days later, I get another email. And those emails, those first set of emails, are called the welcome sequence. So we'll talk about them a little bit more, but it could be a short sequence, it could be a slightly longer sequence, but it's going to happen every time somebody subscribes, and it's going to happen automatically. The second type of email is nurture emails. And nurture emails are your bread and butter. Like, this is where you're going to put 70% of your email effort into your nurture emails. And we used to call these newsletters. We're going to talk about the difference in a few minutes. But the second type of email that you would create would be nurture emails. And I recommend that you send those at least weekly and maybe more. So it just depends on your business. It depends on how much time you have, depends on whether or not you've got a great writer on your team or you like to write. But I would try to queue up at least one nurture email a week. And then the third type of email that you're going to send are broadcast emails. And there's a difference between nurture and broadcast. We'll discuss that more in a moment. But broadcast emails are the kinds of emails that are like, hey, we've got an event going on tomorrow or next week or next month. Or, hey, we have a sale happening. Or, look, we've got these new products. So a broadcast email is very specific and is more sales-oriented, much more sales-oriented, or action-oriented, I should say, than a nurture email. So, you know, if you're Pat at Andersonville PT, you might send a broadcast email to announce that you have a new therapist in-house. You might send an email to announce that you're open now and you can see patients. Obviously, right now we're getting a lot of those kinds of emails from various service providers. So those would be broadcast emails that you would send out specific to a thing, a product, a service, an event happening, something very timely. Nurture emails are broader than that. And you want to send, not going to give you a ratio, but you want to send more nurture emails than broadcast emails. And we'll go into that a little bit more specifically in a moment. So first on the welcome email, you talked about it with John a little bit this morning when he talked about setting up your email address on your site. But I like to think of this as a series of one or more up to maybe 5 emails, where the first email is a thank you for subscribing, like an effusive, wow, glad you're here, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that should also include like who you are, right? Why are they subscribed to you? Like, thank you for subscribing to Stephanie Schwab. I'm a marketer. I do these cool things. I've got these classes. I teach, I train. I've got some free resources. Like that all is part of my welcome email. And so I would encourage you to write a really positive, engaged, uplifting welcome email. If you promised your subscribers something when they joined your list, I think John talked about that. Like if you promised that sign up to get a discount or sign up to get a free guide, obviously you're going to deliver that in that first email as well. So the first email is whatever you promised, plus a really effusive, warm, hearty welcome. Your second or third or fourth email after that for the welcome sequence, maybe the second one goes a day after, and the third one goes like 3 days after that. But like you spend some time, maybe within the course of a week, getting people acclimated and giving them every day something like a little bit more of an in-depth intro to your brand. How did your brand's origin story? Another story about how you came to be or the kinds of people that you service. Like give them a little bit more so that they really understand why they're on your list and why it might be valuable to open your emails. So that could happen over 2, 3, or 4 more emails so that your welcome sequence is anywhere between 1 and 5 emails. The next type of email, which is, like I said, the meat of email marketing, is the nurture email. And this is something that you're going to send at least weekly. I hope. Please try to send it weekly. And what you're sending in the nurture email are stories, education, entertainment. You want the nurture emails to be emails that people look forward to getting. And you also want them to keep them wanting more. Well, we're going to come back to these in a minute, but those are your nurture emails. And then your broadcast emails you're going to send as needed, and hopefully not too often. You're going to send them for events. You're going to send them for sales and discounts, for new products, for partner offers, a lot of different reasons you might send broadcasts. But like we said, it's going to be quite specific, like ideally one thing you're going to put into a broadcast: this new product, that new person, this new service, a sale, an event coming up. And you don't want to clutter it too much. You want it to be very specific and ideally focused really on mainly one thing. So let's come back to the nurture, because this is a big shift, a big mind shift for a lot of people. It used to be that we created newsletters. And I'm sure you guys are all still, I am still on lots and lots of newsletter lists where I'll get an email daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it is, from some company somewhere, or some brand, small, large, they all do it, where they send out an email, and that email includes, it's really date specific, right? It's the email newsletter for Monday, the 25th of May or whatever it is. And it includes maybe links to the content that group has already published. So maybe it includes a link back to their recently published blog. Maybe it includes a link to some products. Maybe it has some links to other people's content. So like it's an informative, like we're gathering the news from around the industry for you. Legitimate, but not so interesting anymore with like social feeds being so good and us kind of getting curated and algorithmic information to us daily. Not so important to have that anymore. And they're kind of formulaic. Like a lot of newsletters are like, we do the article on the top, and then we do 3 links and a picture and then a product, and that's it. And we do the same thing every single time we do an email newsletter. So that's very formulaic, and really now feeling to me and a lot of other marketers and a lot of clients, a lot of customers and users, really kind of dated and old fashioned. So that's like what not to do. We don't want to do newsletters anymore. Instead, what we're doing are content rich nurture emails. And these are a lot less formulaic. It is content that was created only for email. The whole purpose of it was we wrote it for that email. It doesn't exist on our blog. It doesn't exist in some other form, in a physical newsletter or whatever. We haven't published it in a bunch of places. This is special content that you are writing only for your subscribers. And it does one of three things. We're going to talk about these things a little more. It either entertains, it inspires, or it connects with people. It's very conversational, this nurture email, and it keeps them wanting more, right? It's so good. It's so interesting. It's so valuable that they want to get the next one and the next one and the next one. It's a very humane and personal way of doing marketing, which is so different from, here's my newsletter from May 25th, 2020, which just feels very boxed and very, very specific. So this is a much warmer, richer way to do it. So the three pillars of nurture emails are that they entertain. They either make people laugh, smile, or enjoy. So in some way they're entertaining. Could be a little bit self-deprecating, could be a laugh at your own self. It could be like something funny that happened in your business. It could be something funny that happened in the world. Not too political, be careful. And so the first pillar really is to entertain. The second pillar is to inspire, and that's to get people to be motivated to do something or to appreciate something. So inspires could be how-tos or tips or ideas, anything motivational, anything mindset related would be great. Those are inspirational kinds of emails. And the third email in the nurture type of email is to connect. And that's where you want people to get emotional, right? You want them to feel something. And hey, if you make them cry, awesome. Like that's kind of good. Like they should really feel like they have a personal stake in you and your business because they've read something that touches them in some way. And either that they've, it's something heartfelt, or it's something really warm, or it's something sad. And so if you can entertain, inspire, or connect in your nurture emails, that you're doing something right. That's really the goal, is to want to do one of those three things. 4 rules of great nurture emails beyond those content types are that every nurture email needs to be conversational. It is not just broadcast, let's shove this information down someone's throat. It's conversational, it's light, it's comfortable, it's human. It should be written in the first person. So it's written not like, we at widget company XYZ can't wait to invite you to our seminar on the 4th. It's not that. It's like, I'm really excited to have you on my list and I can't wait to talk to you. Like, you've got to talk to your list just like you would talk to a person. And to that point, the email should come from a person. And it would be fantastic if it was even signed by a person. So you decide who in your organization, or maybe multiple people, are going to be the face of your email program. And even if the emails aren't being actually written by that person, maybe they're being ghost written someplace else, and that's totally legit. It's fine. People have ghostwriters for everything all the time. So somebody else might be writing it, but maybe it's signed by the owner. Maybe it's signed by the manager. And every email, like when you put a signature on an email, it feels so much more personal than like a newsletter, right? So you can actually sign or say, thanks so much. Can't wait to see you again. Hope you stop in, get in touch, from whomever. So from a person is really important. And really, most importantly, the email has to be so good that you would read it. Because if you're not going to read your own emails, stop sending them. Not worth it. So the 4 rules, they're conversational, they're first person, they're from a person, and they're so good that you would read them. So you really want to make sure that your emails are worthy of other people reading them. So a couple more quick concepts. First, we talked about your welcome sequence, and that's going to happen just to kind of give you an idea of how this all schedules out. The welcome sequence happens first before the nurture sequence. So that's going to happen immediately when somebody signs up, and ideally your email software allows you to send one email back automatically and maybe more emails back automatically. Now, if you're on free MailChimp, you probably can't send more than one automatic email. I think that's the limit. But that's fine. Send one, good, great, move on. Don't worry about it. But if you do have an email program that would allow you to queue up for automatic sending 2, 3, or 4 or 5 other total emails in your welcome sequence, great. Write a beautiful welcome sequence and send it, queue it up automatically so that you don't have to think about it. So that I joined today, I get my welcome email number 1 today, I get number 2 in a couple of days, I get number 3 a couple of days after that, and I get all of the welcome sequence without you having to touch anything. So that's the welcome sequence. And it's going to start on the day that someone becomes a subscriber. But the nurture emails, and I have this cool calendar to show you. You'll see it if you watch this video later, or you get the presentation. The nurture sequence happens based on days, not on the dates on the calendar. It's not based on when somebody signs up. The nurture sequence is a calendar all by itself. So like I already know what's going to be sent to my list tomorrow in my nurture sequence. And if you've completed my welcome sequence by tomorrow, you will automatically then get my next email. You're going to get my nurture email. And then you're going to get the next one and the next one and the next one because you come through my welcome sequence and you're on my nurture sequence. Andrew, do we have a couple more minutes?
We do. And I actually have some questions from the people watching, if you wouldn't mind.
No problem.
Do you find any benefit with segmented emails?
So that's a little bit beyond the conversation that we're having here. What I want people to do is to get your emails going and stop worrying about the mechanics, right? Sure. So there is a lot of value in segmenting your emails, buyers versus non-buyers, customers who have bought this type of widget versus that type of widget. That's fantastic and is really advanced. So depending on who you are, you might want to consider that. And if you do, I'm happy to talk to you about that, outside of the scope of this. Sure. And there's plenty of other great marketers who can. But for this, I'm saying, don't freak out about that stuff. Like just get the basics down. Because if you do great nurture emails regularly every week, that is so much better than worrying about the mechanics of everything else.
Excellent. We have a question from Angel. How does email marketing fit in with social media marketing?
So that's a really good question. Email marketing and social media marketing are like 2 peas in a pod, right? They don't exactly relate because you're broadcasting social out to your social platforms and you're broadcasting email out to your email subscribers, but you can use social to generate subscribers. And some of those really cool stories that you're writing in your nurture emails, some of that great content that you're creating in your nurture emails could be maybe shortened down and pulled into social. So you could repurpose that content and make social content out of it. Or maybe something cool in social happened that then you want to write a nurture story about. So the content goes back and forth.
And then we have, I often find myself struggling with the subject line. Do you have any advice?
I do. Well, let's go right on to subject lines. So my ideas for subject lines are, first, to think provocatively. That you want to be in somebody's inbox and give them a reason to open that email. And if you're not thinking out of the box and creatively and provocatively, they're not going to open it. And so in the same vein of like, we're not going to send any more email newsletters, we're also not going to send any more subject lines that say, Amy's Garden Center newsletter, June 25th, 2020. Like, we're not going to do that anymore, right? We're going to send an email that says, make this your best garden year ever, or who doesn't want perfect petunias, right? That's an engaging and an exciting subject line that would make someone want to open an email. But just sending, so-and-so newsletter, this date, whatever, can that stuff. Nobody wants it anymore. No fun, not interesting.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and for giving us this live presentation. Great moments before we have another Stephanie joining us for a live presentation, and we're going to be using the breakout sessions. Thank you very much, Stephanie.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Andrew. Thanks, everybody.